Hello, this is Inoster Has Pie again. This is the second part of my corkscrewing around video. In the first part of it, I showed you I showed you a selection of several different corkscrew coasters and then a sample park making use of many of those coasters. This time around, I'm going to be showing you how I built that park and how I built each of those coasters that were in there. And hopefully this will give you some good ideas of how to get off to a good start when corkscrew coaster is available to you as one of your early coasters. So the first thing I'm going to do is hire a handyman, and I'm going to use him to mark out a grid for myself. And this will be where I'm going to start out with my first coaster. So I use his patrol area as an idea of where I want to set up the grid and the first set of paths that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to set down a little road on each of the different corners of where I want this to be set up. I'm going to put my first pair of racing coasters inside of this 12 by 12 pathway. And he's already set up to patrol that, so it's kind of doing double duty there for me by picking him and setting him down. He's showing me where I want my stuff, and at the same time I'm setting up his patrol area. So it's kind of a nice efficient way of laying things out. I'm also going to hire a mechanic and get him started patrolling inside that area as well. So now when I build these coasters, I don't have to worry about staffing the area where these coasters are going to be anymore. The first corkscrew coaster that I'm going to be building is the one that I call cutbacks, and I'm going to throw down a pre-made one here, and then I'll show you building the other one from scratch, how I do that. So let's just find the right spot for it here, and there it is. We're going to drop it in right there, and then one more thing I want to do, let's take off the synchronizing for the moment, and I want to put up the price for the photos here. I don't get to charge for rides in this park, which is a little inconvenient. Okay, there we go. That one is set up and ready to go, so now we can have guests start to come into this park. And let's turn this around a bit and take a look at how I built this coaster. Okay, so I'm going to go into the corkscrew coasters and we will build a custom design. So the station I'm going to use is going to be 5 sections long, and then I'm going to go right into a half corkscrew to the right, another half corkscrew to the right. I'm going to insert a photo section here, and then a bit of straight track. You could put in some sort of a little hill right there to add a little bit of variety. That will slow down the ride just a little bit, and I prefer to get people moving through here quickly. You could also elongate your station here by putting in another station platform, but I would rather get them out of that curve and again have the ride go a little bit faster. But mainly it bothers me from a realism standpoint, I guess, that I don't like the idea if I put in that extra station, the guys in the back of the train are kind of stuck hanging upside down for a little bit, and that just doesn't seem realistic enough to me. It kind of bothers me. Sits wrong with me there. So now that we've got both trains up and running, oops, I shouldn't turn that to operate yet because I do need to set it up for a powered launch, and we will go 27 miles an hour. Okay, no minimum waiting time. It's going to synchronize, and this is ready to go. And let's get this second one synchronizing as well. All right, there we go. We got our first 2 coasters down. So next thing we need to do here is let me show you what I'm doing with the pathing. And if you want to get this on a tighter footprint, you can actually just run the paths out either end of these coasters, something like this, and you can do the same thing with the exit pathing on the other side, and that's going to give you a little bit smaller of a footprint. But I'm going to do this, run it up and over. I'll give you a little bit of extra excitement on the ride, and then what it also does is lets you have more people in your queue line. And the nice thing about that is get more people off the path, and your park hopefully isn't going to be quite so crowded. Okay, so there we go. We've got both coasters all set up and off and running. Now, the next thing I want to do here is set up some scenery. Again, this is going to increase the excitement of the ride in the park. I also like the way that it makes things look a lot more. The ride is just kind of tucked in with below natural features here, so it really feels like it just kind of melds into the land. I really like that kind of look and feel to things. Okay, that's all set up, and I forgot to put in my exit path right there, so need to do that as well. And perfect timing. I've got a souvenir spot right there just as people are coming off of the exit. That's a nice opportunity for them to buy a souvenir if they're nice and happy. A good thing to put there as well would be like balloons or hats or t-shirts, any of those types of stalls. So let's plop those down, and I'm going to do another one on the other side right next to that exit as well. And while we're messing around with shops and stalls, let's put a kiosk in the corner there. I like to put kiosks in corners since they can be accessed from multiple paths, and so people can access it from a couple different spots here. And then I'm also going to drop in a bathroom. In the spot I got right there. Same thing on the other side. So this whole thing here is really symmetrical in the way that it's set up. Okay, just a couple more things that I want to do. Let's add in some benches. As people are coming off, they may be nauseous, and these benches will give them an opportunity to rest and recuperate just a little bit. Also be adding some benches on the outside path in a little while. Okay, so we've got our first pair of coasters down. Let's move on to the next one. I'm going to do something very similar, in starting out by hiring a handyman, and I will plop him down and use him to mark out for myself the corners of another 9x9 grid. So we're going to put a corner there and a corner there. Okay, that's nice and marked out. Next thing I want to do is drop in some hedges so that I'm going to be running a path right next to the other path here. I don't like it when people are just crossing over wherever. I kind of like to limit the crossing points somewhat, so I put these hedges in here to do that. And now I'm ready to start building my path. This is another 12x12, as I said. Oops. Okay, over here I need to lower the ground a bit so that I have room for my path to come through. Okay, I'm going to need to borrow some money here pretty soon, so let's just do that right now. And send this path across. Okay, so we've got our 12x12 set up. Next thing I need to do is, and actually let's hire a mechanic first. Set him to patrolling this area as well. And I'm going to put 4 different rides in this particular 12x12 grid here. I'm going to start out by prepping some ground for another corkscrew coaster. I've got to drop this 3 spots. Drop the next one 4 spots. And then the next 4 are going to drop 5 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3. So basically the same thing right here in this spot here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, that one actually only needed to drop 4, but 5's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3. Okay, that's prepped. We're ready to build another corkscrew coaster. Gonna put down a station platform right there. And we're gonna go with a half corkscrew right, half loop, level that off, and then set up for another half loop, another half corkscrew right. Time for our photo section. And we're just gonna run straight across, and here you could probably throw in a little hill or something if you wanted to. Half corkscrew right, half loop, level it, set up another half loop, half corkscrew right. Same thing as on the last coaster I built. I'm going to put in a piece of track here instead of a station, but if you want to elongate your station, you could do that right there. I'm going to put our entrance in just there, exit right there, and this one is just about ready. We're going to do another powered launch, 27 miles an hour. I don't like a minimum wait time, and there we go. That one is ready to go. We need to put in our entrance path. I'm going to have a decent sized queue line here, just like that. Let's put in our exit path. I've got a nice spot where I can do several different types of stalls as people come off the ride. So since all we have right now is the souvenir stall, we'll put that one in, but there's a couple more spots there for hats and balloons and things like that. I've got a good spot right here for a Ferris wheel, so I'm going to drop that one in there. Put the entrance there. Exit. You don't want to put the exit there because it's taking away the support. I like to keep that in. It looks better. So we'll just set it up like that. Next, we add in a queue line. Good long queue line available right there. And finally, I'm going to put in, how about that, a balloon stall? We'll get to that in a second. We'll put in another kiosk right there. And let's go with a balloon stall. As I was talking about, I can just kind of toss in a bunch of those right there. So we'll set that one up right there. Okay, now we've got on the other side of this coaster here, we've got an opportunity for some 3x3 type rides. It'd be nice to put in some of the Thrill 3x3 rides, but instead, since I don't have any discovered right now, I'll put the Haunted Mansion in right there. Get the exit in the corner. And I'm going to take that out so the pathing goes the way I want it to. And we'll just wind our queue just like that. And then I'll put that bit of path back. And finally, I've got spot for one more 3x3 type ride right there. And we'll just kind of put a random amount of bits of track going up there. Again, here I want to keep that support, so I'll put the exit right there. This one is ready to go. And let's look at where we're going to send out that pathing, the queue line. It's going to go right out like so. That time I couldn't help but get rid of the support, so I had to do it that way. All right, I don't like that trench there, so I'm going to put in some hedges to protect the guests, cover that up a little bit. And maybe the guests would like to look in, so you could use some sort of a fence that would let them do that, but I think the hedges are a better look for me. Another good spot for a kiosk, so we'll drop that in right there. Let's do the same thing with the hedging on the other side. Oops, didn't want to put that hedge there, but oh well, that works. Actually, I think I'll delete it. I'd rather it be so people, if they're waiting that queue line, could have a better look, and since the queue line has a fence, no problem there. Okay. Next thing let's do is add in some benches along the way here. And I think normally I'd probably toss in some lights along the way, but just to kind of speed this along, I'm just going to put in benches all along the way. So now my people have plenty of opportunities to have a rest, recover if they're feeling ill from the rides, although these rides really don't have that much or that high of a nausea rating. So now I've got 3 coasters in place, I've got 3 flat rides in place, my guest numbers are coming up nicely, and I think what I'll do here is add in a good spot for some shops, food, things like that, so people can eat. And I'm going to put in some hedges over here so that I limit the crossover spots the way that I want. I don't like it intersecting too much to cross over. Alright, so we'll set it up like that. And again, drop in a handyman. He'll patrol that area. And then let's work on our pathing. Okay, and then there's going to be, oops, you know what, I messed that up just a touch. I need to send it out this way just a little bit more. Okay, just like that. And I'll double check by selecting that handyman, but I think I've got that set up right. Yeah, so you can see how the path just matches up real nicely with the way that he's walking. And what I'm going to need to do here, again, because I like to keep these angles a little bit separate, or the paths separate, every 4 spaces I'm going to throw in a hedge, and then that's going to kind of keep things the way I like it. I need to delete these paths so people don't start wandering off where I don't want them to. Okay. And drop in some more pathing here. Alright, there we are. I've got, oh, I needed another hedge just there. You see how that crossed over? Don't like that, so I'll drop in that hedge. Okay, so I've got that area set up really nicely to put in my food and drink stalls. So let's drop all those in. Okay, so we've got people all set up for that. And the last thing I'm going to do here is drop in some benches. So when people are eating their food, they can sit down to eat if they want. Nice, a cash machine. Let's just toss that in right there too. Okay, so right now we've got our ride set up, we've got our food set up, our kiosks. This is a good basic start for the park. Time to up the price a bit, I think. We'll put that up to 40. And I think when I add in a couple more rides, we'll turn up that price a little bit more. So here we are for, one other thing I wanted to show you is there's a nice spot right there for one more tree. Okay, so that's our start. I will have a third part to this video where I add in a few more of these coasters, and you see that we really got our park off to a nice start just using these corkscrew coasters and a few flat rides. Hope you enjoyed the video.